Now we will speak the size.
Spores are germinating, and the mycelium forms and goes underground. And a single cubic inch.
Look, this is a picture in the forest. This is made by the mycelium. It's made from the fungus. It must be under the ground. It's outside the ground. This is the body of the fungus.
Of soil, there can be more than 8 miles of these cells.
Only this, if you make it its length, it will take to 1
My
centimeter.
foot is covering approximately 300 miles of mycelium.
It can extend to 300 miles, only this step.
This is photomicrographs from Nick Reed and Patrick Higgins.
A fungi can go under the ground till 300 miles. And it lives to maybe thousands of years, and it becomes bigger. It becomes bigger under the ground. It's the biggest organism. This white substance you saw, it's its stomach. It eats everything. It knows what's happening.
And notice that as the mycelium grows, it conquers territory, and then it begins to net. I've been a scanning electron microscopist for many years. I have thousands of electron micrographs. And when I was staring at the mycelium, I realized that there are microfiltration membranes. We exhale carbon dioxide, so does mycelium. It inhales oxygen.
It breathes like us. It takes oxygen and gives hydrogen. It is the body.
Just like we do. But these are essentially externalized stomachs and lungs.
Externalized stomachs and lungs, they're under the ground. 300 kilometers, maybe all the world, nobody knows.
And I present to you the concept that these are extended neurological membranes. And in these cavities, these microcavities form, and as they fuse soils, they absorb water. These are little wells. And inside these wells, and microbial communities begin to form. And so the spongy soil not only resists erosion, but sets up a microbial universe that gives rise to a plurality of other organisms. I first proposed in the early 1990s that mycelium is Earth's natural internet. When you look at the mycelium, they're highly branched. And if there's one branch that is broken, then very quickly, because of the nodes of crossing, internet engineers maybe call them hot points, there's alternative pathways for channeling nutrients and information. The mycelium is sentient. It knows that you are there. When you walk across landscapes, it leaps up in that.
It knows that you are there. When you are walking in the woods, it knows where you are going. Because you're walking on its body. He knows where you are. Maybe the mushroom is here, and if you are walking in Syria, he knows that you are walking there because you are walking on him. You see? And
walking on him.
On him, he's 300 kilometers the body size. When you are walking, he knows that you are there walking. Solomon the Great, like this, he knew the language of the fungus. He told there is a woman. The fungus told him, I can bring it to you. We see how now.
Aftermath of your footsteps trying to grab debris. So I believe the invention of the computer internet come to land. They came to land 1.3 billion years ago, and plants followed several hundred million years later. How is that possible? It's possible because the mycelium produces oxalic acids and many other acids and enzymes. 420 million years ago.
This is all 420 million years ago. The funguses that time was bigger, and they made the plant world of this world.
This organism existed. It was called Prototaxides. Prototaxides, laying down, was about 3 feet tall. The tallest plants on Earth at that time were dotted these giant mushrooms all across most land masses.
They made our Earth green. They supplied the green world, the fungus.
And these existed for tens of millions of years. Now we've had several extinction events, and as we march forward, 65 million years ago, most of you know about it, we had an asteroid impact. The Earth was struck by an asteroid, a huge amount of debris was jettisoned into the atmosphere, sunlight was cut off, and fungi inherited the Earth.
fungi inherit. When an asteroid hit and everything was dead, a fungi, it doesn't matter with it because it doesn't need sunlight. You know, it stayed, and he made the world again continue. But
Those organisms that paired with fungi were rewarded, because fungi do not need light.
all the plants that lived with fungi, that continued. Look, and we certainly gave David and Solomon knowledge and favor, and Solomon inherited David. He said, "O people, we have been taught the language of birds, and we have been given all things." And gathered for Solomon were his soldiers of the jinn and the men and the birds. He had soldiers of jinn. Until they came the belly of the ants. And an ant قالت أيها النمل ادخلوا مساكنكم. Solomon and his soldiers will crush you while they perceive that. How Solomon know that an ant is commanding its people, retrieve. Now Solomon is coming. And Solomon smiled and amused at his speech. How Solomon knew that an ant is speaking like this? Because the jinn, an ant is walking on him, and he's inside the ant, the jinn, the fungus. He told Solomon, an ant is speaking like this. And he had the secret how to speak with the fungus. This comes the Asmodeus story, but we will not speak it about him. But here the fungus told Solomon, an ant is speaking like this commandment, and Solomon smiled. We will see if an ant is controlled by a fungus. The fungus, it gives spores like dust, penetrates the ant's body, controlling its mind. The fungus, it's afreet. It's not a bacteria, small gene, it's big one. It comes, the spores comes to, it controls your mind. It controls the mind of the ant. Like this, Solomon spoke with the ant. He told the fungus, look, the ant is speaking like this, the man is speaking like this. Maybe Solomon knew the secret of the fungus. Why the fungus obeyed Solomon? Maybe he told him, this is the fungus that commanding all this area, I will destroy. You do as I want, or I destroy you. The fungus told him, okay, I'll do as you like. You know? It's controlling its mind, the mind of an ant. We cannot speak, the fungus, it's controlling its head. It controls, I didn't put too much video, it controls the minds of the ant, and it commands him to go to the population. When it goes to the population, it spreads out and eats all the ants. Look how it controls the mind of anything he wants, living thing. When it's finished of the ant, it eats him, and it makes a new mushroom from the ant. You see?